Hangout. I am Esther Mokwariola. Today on the program, Alex Oti and Peter Mba claim hard-fought governorship election victories in Abia and Enugu states. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dari Odufowokon. Journalist Hangout starts now. Now let's begin with development across the shores of Nigeria, but with the impact on our polity. A former Deputy Senate President, Ekweremadu, his wife, Beatrice, have been found guilty of organ trafficking in the United Kingdom. And after a 6-week trial at the Old Bailey, the duo, alongside a medical doctor, Obinna Obeta, were found guilty of facilitating the travel of a young man to Britain with the aim of exploiting him. Now, the court ruled that they criminally conspired to bring the 21-year-old Lagos street trader to London to exploit him for his kidney. And the judge, Justice Jeremy Johnson, will pass a sentence at a later date. Let's begin with your perspective on this, Babajide. You know, seeing how things have turned out, how would you respond to the matter, how it has snowballed into this level? What's your take on this first?
I just have pity for this family because it's like going into another country, not acutely aware of what the law says and how to go about things generally. Because in our country, if this had been done in our country, I'm not sure it will get to this level. Even in some of the South Asian countries, people go abroad for the purpose of donating kidney, having people donate kidneys to them. But in this case, the young man got there with the intention of jackpotting, and he lied against them. One, he lied about his age, and then said they wanted to they deceived him, this and that, you know. So their society frowns at such a thing. At the end of the day, you know, it's just unfortunate what has happened, because here was a family struggling to save the life of their couple, struggling to save the life of their daughter, and then this happened. I have people, friends who have gone to Pakistan, gone to Dubai to have their kidney
transplant.
Yes, to have kidney transplants, and this sort of thing never happened. It's just unfortunate because that guy clearly saw an opportunity to stay put, and then lied against them. That this was that.
But do you think that is what could have happened?
Exactly, that's what happened. Because even when when his passport, the opening page of his passport was presented, it showed that the age that he claimed in UK was not his real age. And looking at him, you know that he clearly lied about his age. You know, it has happened, and our country didn't really do anything that we can see to help somebody who rose to the position of Deputy Senate President in our country. This could happen to anyone. I have just pity for them, because it's just a case of the story turning. Yes, that is the way I see it. I have no nothingness but pity. People can misinterpret what I'm saying the way they like, but this is the way I see. People will go to any length to save the life of their dear one. Yes, and the boy, from the fact that I have, agreed to donate. Yes, he agreed, and he's not underage. It's not the age that he claimed. Yes, because the Nigerian passport that he had showed that's not his age.
Dari, what steps can be taken to prevent any similar incidents like this in terms of organ trafficking and exploitation in future? What are your thoughts?
I think you need professionals to explain that. But as far as this case is concerned, it's just a very sad one. My pity is more for the young lady, the daughter, who needed that organ. I'm still struggling to understand, though, like Biko said, the rules here are not the rules over there. But I'm still struggling to understand why the court, or the jury in this case now, cannot see that here are two people whose major concern and whose major driving force is to save the life of their child. And in that process, any option will look attractive. And then the jury there obviously must have established the fact that they have their ways, that this young man was told the intention of the trip ab initio, and he agreed. And if these are facts, I still wonder why, in the area of, even if it's just for the purpose of tampering justice with mercy, the Ekweremadus were not given a better, didn't get a better outcome from this their case. It's such a thing that it would teach a lot of people the need to do due diligence when it comes to issues like this. Right. One would have thought that a man of Ekweremadu's ranking would know better. But now, this has shown us clearly that anybody can fall into the trap of someone who sets out to commit, who sets out to cheat. Because that's what I see in the young man. You see, while those who know better may want to tell me that why am I not looking at the issue of somebody's organ is about to be taken. Donating organ is nothing new. We've seen people do it. Yes. We've seen relatives do it for their loved one. We've seen strangers coming up to say, for the husband. We've seen strangers, this rapper, the wife donated the kidney for him, Idris. I mean, so I don't think the issue of you agreeing to donate your organ for me is criminal in any way.
Maybe they just didn't believe.
If it is not, I think the issue has to do with documentations or getting the right papers, or is it that over there it is not outrightly allowed? You see, we are going to...
No, maybe they refuse to believe the story of the Ekweremadus. Because, and let's not think that in their place that the justice system is perfect. We've seen people stayed in prison for as long as 40 years.
Only to come and
discover that he ought not to have gone to jail in the first place. It keeps happening, especially in the US and all of these countries.
Right, let's leave it at that, and thank you so much for this discussion. It can be very, very pathetic, but we appreciate the analysis on this. Let's quickly move on to our next issue, where the furor raised by the Naira redesign policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria is far from over. Now, in the latest twist to the saga, the Nigerian Labour Congress has declared a nationwide strike over the scarcity of cash in the country. The national president of the union, Joe Ajero, who gave the directive, said the industrial action became the last resort for the NLC following expiration of the ultimatum issued to the federal government and the CBN. Ajero explained that the government has failed to show any commitment to addressing the situation. He also directed the affiliate unions of the NLC should be on standby for picketing exercises across all branches of the CBN nationwide. BK, what do you make of this decision of the NLC to picket the CBN branches over the current currency crunch? Is it a little too late? What are your thoughts?
Oh, no. They should have done it before now. IT organizations in our country, some of them have been collecting dirty money from the same people who are pauperizing our people, who are tormenting our people with policies that they know in their hearts are not meant to achieve anything, because no one can tell me the economic value of this useless policy. thoroughly useless policy, no value whatsoever. A policy that they did not even, we've seen a third world country like India, a third world country but much more advanced than Nigeria in so many ways. You know, bigger than Nigeria by far. They tried this thing in 2016 and it failed in India. It was the poor people that suffered. I've been challenging them to go and read what happened when India tried this kind of thing in 2016. In any case, we are a nation of unreading people. That's why you see journalists who do not know their left from their right standing by a man who has clearly failed this nation. It means that you are conscienceless. If you stand by a man whom you can see that by his actions and inactions, people are dying, people are rioting, people are becoming poor, people are falling sick and not getting Medicare because they've not got the cash to make it happen. Look at what is going on now. You can't even transfer money. The CBN governor had to apologize to Nigerians over the inability to transfer money electronically. You are trying to push us to do a cashless policy when you don't even have the infrastructure to back it. Did you do a stress test? The stress test will have shown to you that, oh, if about 1 million people try to transfer money at the same time, it may not work. You didn't do it. That is testament to your incompetence. And even if you gather all the journalists in the world, people who ought to be butchers, who get crashed into our profession, who do not know their left from their right, if you gather all of them, it still won't vitiate the truth. The truth never loses. The truth is the truth. Now, what I'm actually ashamed of is the fact that civil society, labor should have taken concrete steps, even at that time when the president was vacillating. Because whatever we say about Emefiele, the president must take some of the blame. Because, you see, when we talk like this here, people say, Jide has come again. I told people, right on this program, I said, don't be too sure that after the elections, this problem will disappear. Because some people are deceiving themselves. Say, oh, it's because of the election. Let's just do the elections. After the elections, the money will be available. Oh, have we not finished election now? A boy here in this office, for 3,000 Naira, he paid 900 Naira. Have we not finished elections? Are they blind? Can't they see that we finished elections? How Nigerians, embrace things that make no sense is what I just don't get it. Because the journalists that they listen to, the journalists that they venerate, they are even better than those journalists. There are some Nigerians who do not have any training in journalism. They are better equipped than the birds of passage who get crashed into our profession and are standing by certified failures.
Gary.
So this is the thing.
Yeah.
Let us now, the CBN, what it should have done, just before you go to that, because I'm pained by this.
I get you.
Now the CBN is planning to tell bank chiefs, come and take Naira notes that you deposited with us. Come and take it back. They have record of Naira notes that banks deposited. They said, now come and take so that you can flood the country. Meanwhile, what they told us before was that they had burnt. They had burnt. And I said they didn't burn anything. I'm not the sort of person who believes just anything you tell me. I've outgrown that. I said they didn't burn any, it's a lie. Some of those monies are even still in the vaults of some banks. Now, they are telling them, come and take what you deposited with us. When you take it, hopefully, we'll be able to flood. I said it, I said even the new notes, they don't have enough new notes. People didn't believe us. But the facts are there now. Those who deceive themselves that, oh, once elections are over, oh, this thing is targeted at some people, but immediately the elections are over, the money will be there. They fail to realize that where we are talking about manifest incompetence. Incompetence that is as clear as daylight. The issue of whether money is available or not, you will see. Even if it's available, How do they get it across to people? Now it has taken the NLC to wake up from its slumber before they realize that they have to stop the pain that Nigerians are going through. It's a mortal shame.
Mortal shame indeed. Dari, what impact do you think this picketing would have on the economy, seeing the current situation Nigerians are facing? Do you think it will make any difference?
Yeah. I'll say it's better late than never, because I'm not impressed by whatever action the NLC wants to take, except for the fact that we must excuse the new man, Joe Ajaero. He just took office. I think the immediate past president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Ayuba Waba, will be remembered for what he didn't do when it mattered most. A lot of us here on this table called on him, especially when judgments came and the president would not budge, Emefiele would not listen. That is why we have the civil society. That is why we have the Nigerian Labour
Ajero are taking over when those judgments
but Ayuba would not be bothered.
No, now see, Ajero are taking over long before even that judgment came.
The election was held long before. I think I read through this thing. I don't know what their transition is like. And in one of his own explanations is the fact that now he's in charge. One will need to study what their own transition system looks like, because for some time, Ayuba Waba was still in charge. And whoever it was that was in charge, Nigerian NLC is a body. It owes Nigerian that action at that time. You see, whatever they decide to do now will really not matter much to me, because you are not calling for a strike. A strike at a time like this will only worsen the situation. Because, well, if you understand how people have lost their means of income, how businesses have collapsed. I was at a bank on Tuesday and I met two elderly men with evidences that they are retired senior Nigerians, elder statesmen who served the country or their offices, retired, and they rely on their monthly stipend. And now, in the last 2 or 3 months, the money is there. They cannot get cash. They can't do transfer. And these two, after struggling, the bank was paying 5,000 naira for its customers, but because they are old, they couldn't get. They stayed by the bank and they were begging. Please, just if it is 500. One of them said, if I tell you to give me money I want to use to transport home, I'm lying. I will need extra small to at least to eat tonight and all that. These are people who have money in their bank accounts. They became beggars. Those are examples we saw. Many others like that. There are people whose means of livelihood requires that they have steady cash at hand. That has been destroyed. There are people who rely on the ability of Nigerians to spend Naira to survive. The entertainment industry is practically closing down. People cannot find cash to do things they do on daily basis. And yet, we think we have a policy that is meant to solve, because if you remember the way Emefiele went about introducing this Naira swap policy to us, I was one of those who fell in love with him. I must tell you.
I remember.
He did, like BKO said, he had a gang. I won't call them a band now, but a gang of journalists who helped him do a wonderful job of packaging what has turned out to be a lie. What he did to us is what I have called it economic genocide. He practically killed us economically. It is not just a national economy. The individual economy of the average Nigerian suffered a fatal blow in the hand of a man who told us he knows what he's doing, but we found out he ought not to be the man in charge at a time like this. But if we continue to shout his name from now till 20 years, what would happen to those who should call in to others and didn't?
So what do you think the government should do in this case? Even though the NLC has given an ultimatum, Babajide, what do you think government should do to ensure that this matter is really addressed if it's talking about, addressing the current cash crunch?
The president already threw him under the bus. And that is a lesson for other public officers. Follow the law. Don't be naive. The Supreme Court is the biggest court in our land. We advise them to listen to the Supreme Court. Now, when it became so clear and people were attacking the president, he came out to say, no, they don't have to take order from me to obey the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's why they were waiting for him.
Because the argument was, the matter was actually against the president. It was that the judgment was directed at the president. But you are an agent of the president. The president does not run the CBN by himself. You take orders from him. He gave the directive to you. He cannot come down and do it himself. So you should have taken steps. And they didn't take those steps. And for those who try to politicize the thing, deceiving themselves that this whole thing will stop somebody from winning an election. Are you God? What God has ordained, no man can change. I thought Two-Face sang about that a long time ago. That who God has blessed, no man can curse. Why are we so naive as a people? That, if we inflict pain on people, innocent people, it will stop somebody from winning? Abba. See where we are. Now the mess is gargantuan because elections have ended now. Yet people still don't have cash.
So what is the long term, what is the solution? Even though
the solution is let him release the money that they confiscated from Nigerians.
And then they should
let them release it back to the banks.
The new notes he promised, he has the capacity to
They do not have enough. No.
Then we shouldn't allow him get away with that.
They didn't print enough. The people who are knowledgeable have said it that even the security printing and minting company is limited at this time. And don't also forget, they are the same people they are running to print ballot materials and all that.
So
they did not print enough. We've been saying this from day one. You confiscated trillions of naira from our people, yet you could not print more than 400 billion. So how do the people survive? You've taken their money off them. You apply pressure on them, they rush to the banks to deposit money. And now you are now telling them they are not telling them that you can't take more than 10,000. A boy in our office here, across the counter, he was paid 1,000 naira. Have we ever degenerated to that level in our country?
Lined up for 2 hours to collect 1,000 naira.
Some have said
and that's why now let him release the money that Nigerians deposited, and that is the thing. That is his best bet. Call the bank MDs, the fat cats in the Nigerian banks. Call them, tell them, gentlemen,
take your money.
Each of your banks, what you sent to us, what you deposited with us, come and take. Because you don't have enough new notes. I challenge the CBN to show to us that indeed they have enough new notes. I know a bank that for the past 4 weeks they've not given them a bank branch. They've not given them 1 naira of the new notes.
I don't think there is need for a challenge. It's obvious. If he has a new note, we should see it on the counter.
I say that because I'm sure of my facts.
Yeah, but
because the people who are standing by them,
do you still have people standing by them?
Have you seen some? There are some journalists who will not open their mouth to condemn this. Are you going to say that you don't know?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Have you seen some? Even they
won't say a word.
These people are selective even about what they criticize. Some of us have been criticized. You did not talk about violence in Lagos and other places. 4 times I've talked about it. 4 times. 3 times on Journalist Hangout, 1 time on Journalist on Your View. We are not hypocrites like the rest of them. If something is wrong, we'll talk about it. The heaven will not fall on our heads. But there are journalists who are selective. They can watch the rest of us suffer. Even they too, they are suffering. They are DMing people, asking for money. But they continue to pretend like this thing there's no big deal about it for political
gains. We
gains.
wait for a solution to this. On
the solution is what you asked me. I've already said it.
You said it already.
Release
Enough
to
cash.
the fat cats in the banks what you
Took from
collected. Tell them to release. I mean, you tell your people in CBN to release the monies that they took from the banks as depositors' funds. Depositors who are seeking swapping of their currencies. What you gave them. Since you don't have enough of the new notes, return to those banks and let those banks freely give money to people. I never knew a day would come when I will have money in the bank and they will tell me that I can't take more than 10,000. Even the Supreme Court said that is against the fundamental rights of Nigerians.
We can discuss this until when we like, but we cannot go further than this.
If we like, tomorrow we'll come back. Thank God we own the airtime. We can come back tomorrow to still talk about until they make up their minds to stop Nigerians from suffering. We will not keep quiet. Let it be clear to them. Some of us have made up our minds that once it is the truth, we side with the poor people. I may not side with the big people. I don't give a damn who they are. But with the poor people, I side with them.
Let's quickly go on a very quick break. Dari, we need to go on this very quick break. We will return with more discussions and journalist hangout. Stay with us. We have more after this.
The Nigerian Army wishes to inform the general public and all interested qualified candidates of the commencement of online registration for 85 regular recruit intake for trades, non-tradesmen and women into the Nigerian Army. Applicants must be singular Nigerian citizen by birth and must possess National Identity Card, National Identification Number or BVN. All applicants must possess at least a minimum of 4 passes in not more than 2 sittings in WASC, GCE, NECO or NAPTEP. Applicant must not be less than 18 years and not more than 22 years for non-tradesmen and women, while tradesmen and women must not be more than 26 years as at commencement of training by 15th June 2023. Measurement in height at least not less than 1.68 meters and 1.65 meters tall for male and female candidates respectively. Interested candidates are advised to log on to the NA recruitment website https://recruitment.army.mil.ng to complete online registration from 1st March to 5th April 2023. The application form for enlistment into the Nigerian Army is free. Brigadier General Aminu Mustafa Garba, Director, Directorate of Army Recruitment, Resettlement and Reserve. Announcer.
Max Millions!
Your favorite cash giveaway is coming this April. To win a share of the 1 million Naira, be the 10th caller on Max FM. When you hear the winning song, beat the clock and win yourself free cash.
You don't win 54,000 Naira!
From 6 a.m. on the Max Breakfast and throughout the day, we guarantee to give away 1 million Naira in Nigeria's radio cash giveaway.
Everybody getting paid.
Max Millions.
Grace Nation International presents 4 days of power-packed program tagged Harvest of Babies 2023. Date Wednesday 29th of March to Sunday 2nd of April 2023. Wednesday 29th of March. Time 5 p.m. Thursday time Lucian. Time 8 p.m. till dawn. 2nd of April. Anointing and celebration service. Time 7 a.m. Venue Grace Nation International Headquarters, Ojodu Bega, Lagos, Nigeria. Ministering Dr. Chris Okafor. Come and experience power and mighty move of God. For inquiries, please call +234 80 327 29060. Jesus is.
Now, the yet-to-be inaugurated 10th National Assembly is already attracting attention, particularly from its leadership should take place. Now, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, has described reports of rezoning arrangement of leadership positions in the 10th National Assembly as fake. And in a statement, the APC described such stories as false and misleading, noting that the party has not made any decision on the zoning of positions or offices of the 10th Assembly. Dari, let me come with you on this now. Since Senator Adamu has dismissed the reports as fake, what's your opinion on this statement? Let's start with that.
A statement that the zoning is fake. That's expected. But at the end of the day, the party will zone offices. I think what he's trying to do is to prevent a situation where senators who have leadership aspirations will jump the gun. Some of them have already started canvassing for support. That's understandable. But like Adamu cited, he cited a case of what happened in 2015 when people jumped the gun so much that by the time the party was ready to say, okay, let's do it this way, it appeared too late and people disobeyed the party and created what became a leadership problem for the party at the National Assembly. So I think it's just a matter of time. The APC, with clear majority, the party will not be needing any alliance or cooperation with any of the opposition party to form leadership. The numbers of senators on the APC side is enough for it to decide who leads the National Assembly, especially the Senate. So I think the national chairman is merely trying to urge members to go about promoting their aspiration in manners that will not hurt the unity of the party. Already we are seeing senators coming and I've already had the Emilokon statement from one of them saying it's actually my turn. That is on the personal note. There are also agitations have started on zonal basis. One or two zones are giving us good reasons why the position of Senate presidency should be zoned to them. There are those who have told you that, look, check the election. We delivered the highest number of votes. We have always supported the ruling party. We have never gone outside the party at any point in time. There are those who feel that, look, the issue of equity and justice, we must balance our positions. If Zone A is having this, Zone B has already pocketed this, and Zone C is looking at this already. Why won't you give us the Senate presidency? We, as whatever, you cannot fault that. But you must aspire within the context of your party's interest. How are we going to go about it that the party will not be disturbed? And we'll be sure that we are not about to start another round of crisis. That is what in my opinion, the national chairman was trying to avoid. But he cannot stop the aspiration of those who want to be Senate president.
Right.
Neither can he stop the agitation of zones wishing that the position should be given to them.
Right. So, Babajide, do you think zoning, of these positions is a good practice in our political system? Let's have your perspective on this.
Yes, it makes sense. It makes sense, and we have been doing it for so long. I believe that we have to stick with it. If the PDP had followed its constitution and allowed zoning to prevail, they won't have the mess that they put themselves in. Those who defected, from the party are the real reason the party didn't win this election. They can hit their heads against the wall, say all kinds of things. The real reason is people defected because they were not happy that you refused to follow your constitution. The constitution promotes zoning, permits zoning. So why would you go against it? So I do not see in a very complex federation like ours, you have to allow zoning. Zoning is just similar to the federal character principle. You have to share what is there for everyone. Otherwise, it will be like survival of the fittest. And because the lion is very strong and skillful, hunts in packs, they are going to dominate the savannah. Others will have to
scramble.
Yes, for leftovers. You see the hyenas, they're always looking for
what's left over.
What the lions have as leftover. So that's not the sort of thing that we want to see. The rest of the country can be like vultures, scavengers. Let the zoning agreement be respected. APC has always opted for zoning, especially for National Assembly leadership positions. You know, principal officer, everything is usually down to zoning. And the truth is, right now, we are seeing those who want to be Senate president. Senator Barao from Kano North. He survived the NNPP tsunami. You know, he's the senator representing Governor Ganduje's senatorial zone. He wants to become Senate president. And the Northwest can say, look, we've done well. We've always delivered. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu had the highest votes, what you call the popular vote, from the Northwest. He defeated Atiku and others from the Northwest, in the Northwest. So the Northwest can say, oh, listen, is our turn. And of course, when someone like Senator Ojus Okalu says, look, it's my turn, he has every right to say that. Because when people in the Southeast didn't want to have anything to do with the APC, people like Senator Ojus Okalu and the former governor of Imo State, the Okorocha, they stood firm and they helped propagate the party in that area. And when Southeasterners were reluctant to publicly ask Nigerians to vote for Asiwaju, Ojus Okalu was going from TV station to TV station to say, look, this man can do it. I know that he was on our channel. This I can testify, it was going on. And so, and he's someone that you can say, oh, he's even acceptable to people from different regions because of his in his early life. You know, he lived in the north, and so if we want to appease the Southeast, for example, that could be something that the leadership of the
National Assembly should consider.
The party, the National Working Committee, and even with the input of the president-elect, that is something that they have to consider, because the Southeast is an integral part of our country. We need them. We need the energy, the creativity, and the business acumen of the people in the South. We really need them, great Nigerians who will be useful to their country. Every time I see entrepreneurs like the former CEO of UBA, Elumelu, clock 60 years.
Yes,
every time I see him, I see a man who is still young and inventive enough to contribute to the growth and development of his country. And there are so many people like that. How are they able to do it? I've said before that for you to even be good enough to be president of our country, you must even show evidence that you have excelled in business. Because to excel in business is not an easy thing. Dangote once told us that, look, I can teach what they will never teach you at Harvard. He gathered us as journalists. He said, I can teach what they will never be able to teach you at Harvard from my own experience, which is the thing. What boarding journalists learn in the newsroom, nobody teaches them in mass comm schools. They know it. It's a fact. So experience is the best teacher. I believe that the NWC should not waste time, because they wasted time before and they regretted it. That was in 2015.
Yes.
Where Saraki emerged against the wish of his party.
It was a party debate.
They do not have to waste time again. Show your hand. Let them know that this is where you are going. If you are zoning it to the Southeast, yes, let us know. Oh, it's going to the Southeast. Let people like Ojus Okalu and the rest, let them continue their lobbying.
Others will look for
if you are going
else.
for South-South, let them also know. If it is Northwest that you want to go, let them know. Don't waste time. Because if you waste time, then you are playing with what happened in 2015.
Absolutely. Final thoughts on this, Dari?
Well, I'll repeat it. The party must act now. The APC had been through that route before, so they should know better. Because when you allow people to spend time resources and energy on an aspiration, only for you to come around and say, no, we are not going in that direction. It is always difficult.
No, they will
to
revolt.
Make them,
They will revolt.
It will lead to revolt. I mean, people disagree more when you have allowed them taste the fruit of what they are pursuing. Okay. But if you, in good time, nip it in the bud and say, no, this will go this way. Why don't you look for something else? Still within the kitty. The principal offices are not 2 or 3 or 4. So, and every zone will get 1 or 2 by the time the zoning is done. So let people know what they should be aspiring for, so that it will be easy for you to, make them align with the decision of the country.
All right, let's quickly move on to our next issue of discussion, where the winners of the March 18th governorship election in 2 southeast states have been announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission. While Alex Oti of Labour Party won the election in Abia State, Peter Mba of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, triumphed in Enugu State. Now, Oti trounced his opponents like Oke Ahiwe of the PDP and Eyinaya Nwafo of the Young People's Party with a score of 175,467 votes and won 10 out of 17 local government areas in the state. While in Enugu State, Mba polled 160,895 votes to defeat his closest challenger, the candidate of the Labour Party, Chijioke Idioga, who scored 157,552 votes. Now let's take you back barely 1 month ago when BKO predicted how the election will be won and lost in Abia and Enugu State.
Now,
10 is here.
Popular candidate Professor Uche Ikone died suddenly, and he had to be replaced by the chief of staff to the governor, Oke Ahiwe. He will battle Ikechi Emenike of APC and Alex Oti of the Labour Party. This is a very, very interesting contest. Labour.
Alex Oti is going to ride on the back of the popularity of.
Yes. It's a possibility because this new person that replaced Professor Ikone is not as popular as the man who died. So this may be Alex Oti's chance. This may be. I'm not prepared to. I'm not prepared to bet on him, but it looks like this could be his chance. Talking about Enugu State, there is not so much to talk about in Enugu State. In the governorship election, as well as National Assembly elections, the people are inclined to vote PDP. The PDP has always won elections there. You know, it's a case of, okay, Nnamani's boys. Nnamani left the scene and his boys have retained power, even though one of them eventually abandoned him. That's Sullivan Chime. But his boys have always retained power. The people are inclined to vote PDP. It's a PDP state.
Well, before we get on to discussions, let's quickly go on a very quick break. You have more in just a moment.
Big 10 is here. The first ever all-female talk show will be 10. Your View kicks off 10-year celebration with a roundup for the International Women's Month. The ladies of Your View would be hosting a He for She Walk for Equity. This is an open invitation to our supportive men to join the Walk for Equity on April 1st, 2023. Meeting point is at Billingsway, Ikeja. Special guest appearance is the Minister of Youth and Sports, Mr. Sunday Dare, and several celebrities. For sponsorship and participation details, please call the commercial department. Brace yourself for sweat, fun, and celebration.
My name is Kufre Jerome Pat. Goes me to my primary assignment, UTCL.
Welcome back. You're still on to the program. So, Babajide, just before we went on break, I wanted to have your assessment on what was the background, or rather, what informed your decision to come out with such findings, to give us that expose that Labour Party would take the stage in Abia and PDP would remain as a party in Enugu?
Yes, I've been following developments in those states. I know the power people, I know the extent they can go. I understand political behavior in different states. Sometimes things happen that will suddenly change, the calculation, but the truth is, if you do your findings dispassionately, there are some Nigerians you talk to who say, look, this is what will happen. By the time you bounce what they've told you with several other people, you will see that you will be able to decide which one is correct. For example, when I predicted that APC will lose Kebbi State, some people felt I was mad. In fact, no many people called me to say, what are you talking about? That's in the presidential election. But that's what happened. Because I was able to conclude that the coming of Aliero, Adamaliero, and the rest of them into the PDP was the difference maker. So, and this is just like Peter Obi. That I said Peter Obi will dominate the Southeast votes, that even in some cases it will score well over 90%. Now, once sentiment is not brought into it, and not say, oh, let me not offend APC people, this and that, let me not offend PDP. Once sentiment is not brought into it, you are likely to get it right. Sometimes things change on election day, for example. So things that you didn't expect could just happen. Sometimes rigging that you did not foresee will happen, and it will change the calculation. But the Nigerian who is looking for a chink in your armor will still come and say, oh, but you said this person will not win. Did I know that they are going to rig massively in the manner that they've done it? It happens. Sometimes they use the armed forces to even suppress votes, turn people away from polling centers. In polling, in doing political prophecy, you are not likely to factor the possibility of people being stopped from voting. So this is the thing. In the presidential election, I got some wrong. But in terms of the governorship election, there were very few that I didn't get right. Very few.
But Dari, let's look at, even though it was a close margin, some of the Labour Party supporters were alleging irregularities. But what's your assessment on the outcome of the elections in Enugu State?
Well, I think eventually what looks like the wish of the people of Enugu prevailed. A good look at the politics of Enugu will show you that it would be out of place to think that either APC or ABGA would make much impact. So right from the word go, it was Labour versus PDP. Funny enough, the gladiators in the two parties are SY allies. They were all together in PDP. They were all in Namani boys. It was the primaries and the issue of zoning that led to the crack that made the Labour people left. And since they joined the Labour movement, which is the Obedient movement and Labour Party joined together, according to one of them, said it's the Labour movement, they energized whatever it was in the state before. They enjoyed what I'll call the local support during the presidential election. Even many of those within the PDP supported them to ensure that Obi scored what he got in Enugu.
Presidential,
It was not wholly the performance of Labour or Obi that gave Peter Obi that score. Even some PDP bigwigs openly canvassed and energized support for Obi's presidential ambition in Enugu. But immediately after the presidential elections, they made it clear that we have to go back to our roots. And by that they mean we return to PDP. That Labour is able to lay claim to a close race with PDP in Enugu is still as a result of the Obi tsunami. Sincerely, left for, without that, Labour won't be in the permutation when it comes to the governorship of. Labour became a factor because Peter Obi was on the ballot.
Right. And
they enjoyed some of such grace into the governorship. That's why their governorship candidate is laying claim to a close race. But a good look at what transpired will show you that the people of Enugu State merely went back to what their tradition is. Enugu is a PDP state. Yes. The factors before the governorship election favors PDP to pick the ticket. The issue of zoning, the issue of the rotation of some offices, as well as the issue of who picks the Senate ticket, looking at the gubernatorial candidate of each party, where it is assumed that a clan, for example, is producing both the governorship and the senatorial ticket. Those were factors that people looked at, and it favored PDP immensely. At the end of the day, the man we are talking about too, take a look at the two candidates. Mba has been around for a long time. He was commissioner almost 20 years ago. And he has been among the power brokers in the state since then till now. So his name on the ballot with the popularity of PDP, which has been the ruling party in Enugu since 1999, obviously will do the magic against any opposition.
Final thoughts, PQ.
Yes, it is clear that voter behavior during the presidential election changed during the governorship election. Look at Plateau, for example. Plateau has always been a PDP state. Yes, APC got to power, but they always win the presidential election. PDP always wins the presidential election in Plateau State. Presidential election, they made up their minds to go for Obi. After Obi, they went to PDP, and PDP won with a good margin. So, and today now, Obi has only one state, despite winning 11 states and the FCT. But in the governorship election, he won only one state. So, it's in the category of ABGA. It means that even APC has more states in the southeast than the Labour Party.
And well, that's where we leave it. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your insights on today's program of Journalist Hangout. Dario Dufowoko and, as usual, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. It's a pleasure as always. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Join us again tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch a repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Esther Makwariola. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
It's a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
Inability to own a house or rent decent accommodation. On this program, I analyze the challenges affecting the housing sector with stakeholders to provide solutions.
I don't think that anybody can pretend that we're going to close the 70 million homes gap in 5 years.
Each episode gives an insight into the housing plight of Nigerians.
The gate man here needs a house as much as the millionaire who is driving past there needs a house.
How can the housing sector be made better? Will the dream of owning a house by an average Nigerian be achieved? What strategies are the government putting in place to provide affordable and decent housing for all? Let's bring you up to speed on the happenings in the housing sector. Keep it.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. On Labor Lens, we believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor, how policies affect workers in the workplace. On Labor Lens, I ensure we engage effectively the organized labor, organized private sector, and government to get out of them information workers are in need of. I am Sharon Ijason, asking questions that make you get sense of the workplace.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the...
Hello and thanks for joining us. This is TVC News at 6, and we are staying on the story of the former Deputy President of the Senate, Ekweremadu, and his wife, who were found guilty of organ harvesting today by a Central Criminal Court, popularly called the Old Bailey in London. The court also found guilty a doctor said to have been the middleman. Senator Ekweremadu, his wife Beatrice, and Dr. Obinna Obeta were found guilty of facilitating the travel of a young man to Britain